Hello, everybody, and happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another episode of Point3Podcast, Season 3, Episode 5, with your favorite trio of hosts, Lou to my left, Hero Scroll down below, and we just had a great weekend of some CinemaCon news, Daredevil, Born Again, Episode 7 last night, and we will be talking about our Sentry comic history deep dive at the end of the episode. But it is Wednesday, April 2nd, officially in April. Feels weird that 2025 has been 4 months, or that we're 4 months in already. But we've been doing some superhero stuff. You're gonna say something, Lou?
I was gonna say, April is a special month for the Point3 Podcast. We got something coming up here. It's Point3 anniversary.
Anniversary.
Yeah.
Point3 2-year anniversary. It's crazy. Just popped up in my calendar the other day.
Yeah.
I love it.
Man, it's
crazy to think. We did that 1-year video last year. Who knows what we got for year 2?
No video, baby. I'm just kidding.
We
got something. We're cooking something out. Come on now.
We got some end of month.
We're always cooking. But keeping up with what we do every Wednesday and every day, the 3 most important things: keep watching, keep reading, and keep nerding out. And kick it off to Lou with keep watching.
Yeah, baby.
What have you been watching this week?
Listen, I went through a nice rewatch of Solo Leveling, baby. I'm sorry. Listen, now that I know more spoilers, I went back through and watched like midway through this past season to the end, essentially. And if y'all see me on Rivals, you'll understand. If you haven't watched Solo Leveling, though, give it a shot. Season 1 is awesome. Season 2 is even better, and season 3 is going to be just insane. So catch up, add it to your list, let it be your casual watch. But for my anime fans, that needs to move up the list. Priority.
I still have to freaking watch it. It's been so busy that I haven't been able to watch it.
Bro, quit and then watch it, and then ask for
it
the
was
job
good.
back.
It was good. It was good.
Ooh, throwing out P.
I have an honorable mention of something that I will be rewatching in April with Your Lie in April. Yearly rewatch of that.
The what?
It's a great anime.
Oh, bro,
Your Lie in April.
Okay. I heard.
It's a great one. Tearjerker, but
what's it about?
Great.
Great.
It's about its peak. It's about this. Let's say it's not weird, but it's like 2 people that cross paths in their lives and pretty much fall in love, and it's a great. I can't say the ending and more details than that, but it's great. It has a lot of music in it because they're all like a violinist and a pianist, and this dude has mommy issues, and she kind of helps her overcome it, but like not in a weird way. That sounded weird, but like his mom forced him to play the piano his whole entire life, and yeah, it's a great show. It's not one of those weird animes. It's not no High School DxD. I swear.
What's weird about that, bro? What's weird? I'm just kidding.
I'm not getting into that.
I'm kidding.
Absolutely not getting into that.
For those listening at home, if you know what it is, good on you.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
Yeah. We could always talk about more anime in our Discord. You know, we always have that. But Hero, what have you been reading this week?
So this week, honorable mention, kind of to the thing that still has our lives in a chokehold, Marvel Rivals. And you're like, wait, that's a video game. It is, but it's also a Marvel Rivals Marvel Unlimited comic series. So it started off as like exclusive to the app or service 6 issues, and then this week the physical edition came out, collecting all 6 issues. So pretty good. I won't spoil it for those that want to, read it, but it kind of gives some more background into the characters and where they're at, as we see them in the game. So some of the interactions that you see the characters have make a little more sense, and also it just adds something to it that I didn't know I needed. So if you haven't read it, definitely read it. It's very quick, 6 issues. You get some cool stuff, and yeah, it's worth it.
Does it incorporate what's in game when you read about the characters? Does it contain that stuff, or is that separate too?
Somewhat. That's the best way to kind of describe it. Yeah. Nate, friend of the chat, saying, does the comic tell us when Doom becomes playable? No, unfortunately not.
It's a big number.
Shout out to Friday though, because supposedly Friday. Huh? Oh, one day. Yeah.
I said one day.
Yeah. Friday though, we're supposed to be getting some looks at season 2 for Marvel Rivals. So
yes, sir.
And it's 4 days, so hopefully some Fantastic Four stuff.
You mean more costumes? Oh, I can't wait.
Not in Rivals, but just like anything.
Just kidding.
Something has to drop.
We'll see.
All right. Quick side thing before we do nerding out. What are they dropping 4/4? Quick hint or quick guess.
Rivals?
Go. It doesn't matter. Anything Marvel related for 4/4.
Bro, social media posts on Instagram.
Be like a poster. Or at least a poster.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Sue pregnant. Just framing the belly.
Yeah, social media posts of the poster.
Okay.
Ooh. Another trailer.
New trailer.
Cool.
Galactus.
I was gonna say
Silver Surfer.
I was gonna say I think it's either Galactus or Silver Surfer, one of the two, like an official look. My bet, I'm gonna say it right now. I think they're gonna do a trailer. CinemaCon still going strong.
I hope so.
4/4 day Superman being like, hey, we're gonna drop an extended preview in freaking Minecraft movie.
That's pretty random. Makes sense.
They don't dare.
Yeah, actually.
They don't dare.
They don't dare?
Ooh. They don't dare. Dude, that'd be too good. We just got chairs. Do you think they're going to give us a new trailer?
No, you're right. Now that you say that, you're right.
Rick, you guys can have this cup. Say Sue on it.
Like, Disney has a CinemaCon panel on Friday too? Holy crap, that would make a lot of sense.
Is it late though in the day? Or is it early? Because if it's late, then it'll probably kind of be what the past couple of days have been, where it's like 9:30 at night and they're like, hey, look at this.
Or we finally get the reveal of what the asterisk is, because we were promised that a year ago and we got nothing.
Yeah.
The follow-up to the world's greatest reveal.
Yeah. Oh, it's probably like 6:30. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
For those that don't get the joke, 6:30 Pacific Standard Time. So
the worst time zone.
Dude, the worst, man.
East Coast.
East you at least you have your nights though. Hey, West Coast people, I'm glad you get to watch everything.
I mean, they got great football. I can't lie.
Bro, you're done with work and you can watch Daredevil before the sun goes down. Come on.
Yeah, dude, we gotta wait. Hold our heads up as we're like in bed waiting for the episode to drop.
Like, honey, it's on.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm up. Okay. What are we nerding about?
We are nerding about some CinemaCon stuff with Into the Spider-Verse official release date of June 4th, 2027, along with a couple cool still images that they released for it, as well as Spider-Man 4 with Tom. Unfortunately, not Toby. Still waiting on that. Brand New Day is the official moniker title thing for it, I guess you could say.
Mhm.
And that's coming out July 31st, 2026 with a cool Spider-Man logo that's kind of like resembling of just like a classic, like I forgot exactly how you would define it, but it's like Spectacular Spider-Man logo. Yeah. Like that TV show. It looks cool. And it still kind of has the Brand New Day font style of like the Homecoming trilogy.
Mm.
And I can't wait. But I'm sad that it's not the 26th because that would have been the day before my birthday. Now I got to see it after.
Oh, womp, womp, womp,
Wah,
womp.
wah, wah, wah. I was about to say, someone play the violin for him.
Yeah,
over here.
just right here.
It's world's smallest violin.
Yeah. Speaking of CinemaCon, how
I'm
are we
excited
feeling?
though for
Yeah?
Spider-Man shit.
Go for it.
Oh, I'm just saying I was excited for it. The freaking pictures that came out for Spider-Verse were sick as hell. I'm excited to see that.
Yeah.
Obviously, always excited to see it. But I made the Miles picture my desktop wallpaper already.
Fair enough. Why not?
Yeah. Why
All
not?
the vibes. All the vibes.
Lou, I think you were asking about like overall feel on CinemaCon. Pretty okay, I guess. They kind of, I know they did this last year where they were showing footage to people who were there first, and they're doing the same thing. So hearing some of the footage descriptions for Beyond the Spider-Verse, some of the footage descriptions for Superman coming out from yesterday, excuse me, just sounds more of what we want and expect out of these projects. So, Beyond, I think everybody kind of them hyping up how it's like the big finale and they're showing off some new animation, which is cool to hear because that's what both of the Spider-Verse movies did. And then Superman, kind of the big thing here, talking about how they're like people are getting these vibes from the film so far of like, the symbolism of hope and how Superman embodies that very well. So yeah, I'm excited. Sucks we can't see anything, but glad it's good news.
Yeah. I think for a lot of people, again,
Like a Superman trailer on 4/4 day.
Technically with Minecraft.
Yeah, actually, you're right.
I was gonna say, I think the big three coming out of this so far to this point definitely are, Spider-Man and then Beyond the Spider-Verse and then Superman. But I think the biggest news for me was Spider-Man Brand New Day. And I think this is the one thing that a lot of people can speculate on now that we kind of have the associations with the comics. And I was curious of what you guys think of the name and how it kind of fits in with what we've been talking about on the heels of the chair reveal of no Spider-Man announcement. And then we know it's called Brand New Day. Looks a little bit different. We know Daniel Destin Cretton or whatever his name is. I can't remember his name, but champion of Shang-Chi. He's
Destin Daniel Cretton.
Same thing.
Okay. DC. Yeah, how do you guys feel about it? How does it kind of fill some gaps from a speculation standpoint for you all at this point? Because I think a lot of people are kind of looking at this being grounded, but they're like, but it should be multiversal, or are they going to do Brand New Day as like it's post Doomsday and it's a battle world thing? Like, what are your initial thoughts? How are the wheels spinning for you guys from the theory standpoint?
You go first here.
I was just gonna say the Brand New Day makes sense. The Brand New Day title makes sense. A little bit reserved at first, just because the title does come from the comics, and that is like the follow up to a very like disliked storyline from people with is it One More Day? So
Mm-hmm.
it is apt because it is a brand new day for him. It is a fresh start. The only problem, and I'm trying not to hold it there, is that it's tough because of where it's falling in terms of its release date and in its place within the MCU. Like, it just 2-3 months after Doomsday, and just sandwiched in between Doomsday, Secret Wars. It's a weird one.
Yeah. Real quick, Spider Brando. There might be a little delay.
It makes what?
There might be a little delay right now, so I'm gonna throw it over to you. But wait a second.
Yeah, my internet is not doing too hot tonight.
No, I think you're good.
I think it's good, but I think it makes me speculate a whole lot more about the movie, obviously, with the whole Doomsday setting, but it makes me feel like it's gonna be a prequel to Doomsday in a way. Kind of like how Ant-Man and the Wasp was to Infinity War. This will be to Doomsday. Because I really like the font and the color scheme of it, and what Destin Daniel Cretton said about the movie, about just it being badass and doing stuff that we've never seen before, which is every director is going to say that about their movie, obviously, to hype it up. But he did Shang-Chi, and I like that movie. And seeing some like action elements like that in a Spider-Man movie would be freaking awesome. So I'm excited for it. It makes me a little more not like scared for it, but more so still I have no idea what to think about it.
Yeah.
How about you?
I mean, for me, I think that, if they are going to lean more into Brand New Day, which I think it's stupid if you call it that and you don't pull elements from the comic run, personally. I think there's a world where this can be a prequel to Doomsday and still give us the grounded elements that we probably are going to expect for Spider-Man, especially post No Way Home. But then also give us for me, I think they'll go grounded, and then ultimately he gets a symbiote at the end. I don't think that's changed in my mind. I think they just, for me, I kind of double down on that one personally, so that you prep him for Secret Wars. So, can he show up in Doomsday? I think in this case, there's no point. Like, he's your ace. I think he deserves a larger part of the story and the share less of the limelight. But also, he could be a huge reason why the plot moves forward from an Earth-based perspective. So.
And that does lead, and I know they're just rumors, and I know we tend not to kind of, feed into those too much, but there have been a couple of like bigger names coming out and supporting the rumor that he is actually not going to appear in Doomsday. Which, like you're saying, if they're going to kind of go down the actual Brand New Day route and then focus on the story there, I could see them trying to tell Avengers through a different perspective and then get back into Spidey and make him more into Secret Wars instead of Doomsday.
Yeah.
It'll be better to ride that wave too. Imagine Brand New Day ending with Doom just saying to Peter somehow, "Hello, Peter," and then that's it. Just that would be crazy. Doc Ock resemblance.
Hello, Peter. Are you ready for a brand new day in a secret war? Bah, bah. Yeah. Yeah.
I've never read the Brand New Day comics, so I don't really know.
Yeah.
About it. I'm not too well versed in it.
Yeah, Mr. Mr. Negative. Mr. Negative is kind of like the central villain of that whole storyline. I don't know because
Ooh.
again, this is just pure speculation. So it's just take it all with a very small grain of salt. But Chameleon was thrown out there, and then also the casting choices didn't really place an emphasis on race, and Mr. Negative is a character of Asian descent. So, and that is important to his character. So I don't see them taking Mr. Negative and changing him completely, knowing that would really I think if they would change his race in particular, I think that would piss off a lot of fans. So who knows? Maybe not.
Yeah. I think one thing to know too for this is like, I'm not saying this is like super formulaic. However, I do think this sets up the possibility to give you a new like kind of like sub villain and then introduce an overarching character. I do think it'd be really dumb still not to have Kingpin in this personally if they're going to go a grounded route, especially if it's picking up post No Way Home, and we understand the timeline of where Daredevil's going to be and Fisk being in New York, and where's the Vigilante Task Force going to be at that point. I think it'd be really cool to just kind of reinvent Spider-Man in this grounded way, but also give us a brand new villain. And I think we'll talk about this in Daredevil. Whoever they do bring in as that core villain needs to be kind of that main battle villain, if you will. I think it's good to have your overarching crime boss, but I think for Spider-Man specifically, there are a lot of expectations that are coming from the multiversal side of things. I would say steer clear of that. I mean, I think the Doom stuff is super cool, don't get me wrong, but I do think at the end of this, whoever kills him or however he dies in this movie, I think it'd be cool to have it be a grounded character that does it to help again boost the street level and not have, oh, Spider-Man can't win without a multiversal threat like a Doom or someone showing up and impaling him, or a Null or some crazy out there theory type of thing. Like, I think it would be good to really have him go through this grounded route. But yeah, I'm leaning more grounded at this point. So pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. This is going to be,
because we've always pretty much said more grounded.
Yeah. I think we've all wanted more grounded too. So I think that's and I think that's most fans' hope, is that they kind of go down that route. Because like we've talked about before, that's kind of what No Way Home put into motion. So I think this is going to be one of those ones we're just going to have to follow along as we get more information. Because that'll be also next year. So not too long of a wait. Moving into Daredevil episode 7. How'd you guys like this episode?
Peak. I thought it was great. It was action-packed, edge of my seat the whole time, just like most episodes of this season. And I thought it helped move the story forward more than what people are saying online about it. And I'm starting to get tired of what people are saying online about it. Because to me, this show has been nothing but greatness. And like everything that Netflix did, this is pretty much doing for me at the same time. I just think it's great.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yes.
Because I think you have a good point. And being 7 episodes deep, we're still throwing around what Netflix did. For you, what have you really like kind of like identified has felt that Netflix feel for Daredevil in an MCU Marvel television show?
I think the fight scenes are very good and Netflixy, and just kind of I think the writing is not, it's not as there or like dialogue heavy, but I think it gets more to the point than the Netflix one did for me, which I don't know, might be basic minded for me to say, but a lot of those episodes in Daredevil are hard in the original series are kind of, for me, sometimes they're hard to watch through just because they are like super, super like just conversation after conversation after conversation. And I like dialogue heavy shows and everything, but like, I don't know. After trying to binge watch that show, it's hard for me. This, I've been just eating up. I don't care how. What's the word? I don't want to say brain rot, but I don't care how attention spanny it's been like pleasing to me.
Mhm.
I've been enjoying it. And even like episode 4 or 5, the episodes that everyone was like, oh my god, these are so boring, when they're all dialogue heavy, like the court scene episode, and then episode 5 with the bank. Everyone were like, oh, they're so boring. But I'm like, you literally just freaking just beat some people up in a bank. Like, how's that boring? And then the court stuff. The court episode was freaking amazing to have like be on the edge of your seat and like felt like an actual battle, even though it was just like a legal battle. And I feel like those episodes are purely of like stuff that people loved about the Netflix show, with being dialogue heavy and like what's it called? Storytelling, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But the show's been getting a little bit more to the point since it only has a couple episodes. And I've been surprised at how much blood they've been showing, to be honest, compared to Netflix.
Talk about your scene real quick.
For me, I don't know. Those are the things I've been looking out for. Just kind of like the darkness of it, the writing, and that's kind of like where I've been comparing it. Because I know they're not going to do everything. It's hard to compare since the casts are different, and it's like a different time in the Hell's Kitchen and stuff.
Well said.
Kind of to answer your question, Lou, I think what this does really well is using its characters, what's the way I'm trying to say this, like appropriately. Not that Netflix doesn't, but I think, and maybe it is kind of how SB is saying, that there is a more time constraint on the show, or not time constraint, but you know how many episodes there's going to come out. It's not as many. So each character that you see and you spend time with is purposeful, and everything has a reason, and it's subtle, right? This show treats us like we're smart, and I like that. Like, the show doesn't have to spell everything out for you, and I think maybe that's where some people disconnect from it, where they're like, well, Matt, as we saw in the first few episodes, well, Matt isn't like super sad. Matt is like this way, or Matt is that way. And then you're like, okay, just take 2 seconds to actually think about what he's doing, what Matt is doing in between all of this. And you see how the turmoil gets to him. And then in this week's episode, you really see it come to the forefront when he kind of has his impromptu therapy session with Heather. Again, that buildup is just so nice. And then how that also plays off for both him and then also for Kingpin. So again, just a show that knows that, hey, you probably watch Netflix, or hey, you probably know what comics are and you know how these characters work. So we're going to treat you like that. And I think that's where people get the separation from it. And I think that does it really well. And then we've talked about it at length, but this week they did it again, and I love it. The showcasing of Matt's powers are fantastic. The subtlety in his hearing, and then this week with him feeling Muse's paintings to kind of get the image of the face. Love it. Ripped straight out of the comic books. I love it. I love it. Give me more. Give me more.
Yeah, man. And I think that's the thing, is like the give me more aspects of this is just, you want to see these characters, like you want the story to continue. but obviously it can't, right? And so, the whole thing with like Bullseye, Muse, Punisher, White Tiger, just kind of everyone involved, like I think they're doing supporting characters really well in this. And I think here you said that is a good point, and kind of piggybacking on what Spider-Brandon was saying too, of like the audience is being treated with, we understand you and we heard you, and we're treating you like a true audience, right? To where it doesn't feel cash grabby. It doesn't feel like we're just dangling Netflix in front of you through 8 episodes. Like it feels like they really are taking care with Matt Murdock and Wilson Fisk. And those are the two core characters, core main character, title character, and then obviously his arch nemesis. I think they're getting some of the best treatment we've probably ever seen. But again, the one thing the show is doing really well for me is reserving. Like they're building anticipation of things you want to see, but they're not giving it to you. And I think that goes back to what you're saying too here, of like, even back with Brave New World, I think we've really gotten this type of storytelling that, the MCU is doing with its characters, of like, they're dripping you piece by piece by piece to make you want to come back for more. And I think we mentioned it in Discord, but I think you really get a good sense, even with all the edits and the rewrites and the redos and all that kind of stuff. They're doing it episodically in a way that makes you want to come back for more. They're developing your characters. They're trying to tie in things subtly. I just think it's a really well done show. And I can't really wrap around people that are like, the show hasn't been great through 7. So episode 8 and 9 are going to be the saving graces because the true team is kind of doing these. I'm like, what have we been watching this whole time? So I don't know. I feel bad that there are some negative pieces to the show on the internet. I think the show deserves all the awards it could possibly get and more. And I have confidence in the final 2 episodes, regardless of which team is kind of a part of it, whether it's done then or now, that it's going to be really, really satisfying and kind of set us up for season 2.
Can we talk about that for a second though?
Season 2 is looking peak.
Yeah, it is.
Huge
it really
spoilers.
is.
Warning.
Yeah, it really is, especially from the set photos. But can we talk about the fact that and maybe this is just me, did I miss something about the actual separation of who made what episodes? Because I've been seeing a lot of people come out and be like, oh, this is where like the actual overhaul took in. And I'm like, as far as I know, the whole thing was scrapped, right? At first, Daredevil Born Again was scrapped. They delayed it because they're like, we have to redo the entire thing. So why are people now being like, oh, the last 2 episodes, that is all new. That all this stuff was from before. Did I miss something, or is this just internet hate for the sake of it?
I'll wait for SB to chime in.
I think it's I think it was more so like this. They did overhaul it, but they never really said what. I don't really know how people know exactly what was kept or not kept. It was just like the script leaks, I think, that beat reporters came out and said, and it still kind of matches of what actually came out. Everyone was like, oh damn, they like kept stuff versus what we thought was getting like completely overhauled, and that's kind of how it came to be. So it's weird. Kind of love good old people like My Time to Shine. Daniel RPK, unfortunately.
I mean, even with this, and Nate, a really good friend of our show, definitely knows his stuff, does his research. Check out his channel because he has a lot of good insight and gives you really fact-based content. So on the assumption here that 3 through 7 was majority of the original with some reshot scenes, it's funny because even when episode 1 and 2 came out, people are like right off the bat of like, oh, that was original, that's not original, this was original, that's not original, this feels piecemeal, and that. And I'm like, bro, for me, it just feels good. Like the show just feels good. They chose whether they kept it from 2025 or they kept it from 2010. Like this is what they decided to put in front of us. and I'm taking it as such, and I'm not holding any episodes where it feels pieced together. Like, this does not feel like a Frankenstein show to me at all whatsoever.
No, me neither. And that's why
one line that I think after it was pointed out, I was like, damn, that feels kind of like thrown in there when Punisher said bullseye in the talk with Matt. When you really listen to it, it feels like it's a little bit Madam Web type voice thing, just for that one line. But other than that, great.
Yeah.
That was the one thing that I saw. But that's really nitpicking it, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
I was an SO free shot because they was not. Yeah. She's killing it this season. How about Vanessa in here?
Vanessa's
good call.
Great. Yeah.
Good call.
Yeah. I just wish there was an explanation on that. I just feel like it's more coming out of nowhere and people are using it or weaponizing that to kind of further their own like agenda against the show. Yeah. Because it feels like when you ask people what's wrong with it, they can't necessarily tell you what is wrong with it. And then the things that they say kind of have like just no standing in what is actually going on within the show.
But dude, I mean, that even goes back to like the first scene where they're fighting in Josie's bar and stuff, and everyone's like, you got like your college standouts that are like, this is too grainy and this light is different, and you can see the edit stuff. Bro, the fight was awesome. Like, I don't care. Like, I'm sorry, I just don't care. Like, if this smoke over here doesn't match the smoke over there, I don't care. It's smoke. It looks good. This is a superhero show. Get off. Go do something else. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
At least it's not Game of Thrones having a Starbucks cup out on set, because Starbucks definitely existed in the freaking like 20,000 BC, whatever the heck that show.
If a Starbucks cup ruined your Game of Thrones experience, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you.
Yeah.
It's time.
I was about to say it's time.
Right on.
Yeah, he knew.
At 15 on the dot.
He's like, y'all talking about Game of Thrones? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said, I'm gonna rev it up. I like that show. Yeah, but yeah, no, great episode. Can't wait what the last two got for us. So,
yeah,
Sentry time. Yeah, well, boys. All right. Today. Yeah, today we are 1 month away. 1 month away from Thunderbolts Asterisk coming out in theaters. We're a little more excited. A little bit. Yesterday, Marvel Legends stream, we got our first full official look at the costume. So if you don't want to see that, don't look it up because we're not going to show you. And if you're listening to this in audio only, then maybe look it up. But yeah, the hype for Sentry.
Discord to see it.
Oh yeah, there you go. Go on Discord. The hype for Sentry going up and up and up. Nate as saying kind of what I think everybody's feeling. Bring on the Bob, right? That's not his name though, or his superhero name. His superhero name is Sentry. Gentlemen, a 25-year comic history for the Sentry. He debuted in the year 2000, and the way they kind of marketed him was, in fact, with what the original comic story kind of goes down the route of, is that everybody forgot he existed. Right? All the Marvel heroes just forgot he existed, and Stan Lee and the writers and the artists kind of played into this as well, that they were like, I don't remember making him. But yeah, I guess we did. Very interesting, especially at the turn of the millennium.
Yeah. So
Sentry, a character that has been confused as a Superman-like for a long time now. SB, I'm gonna throw this question over to you before we kind of start delving very deep into his backstory. As you kept reading Sentry, how did your perspective of the character shift?
It was very interesting because I feel like I've read Sentry in a weird order. I started with what was it, the 07 run? Not the World War Hulk, but the
05 run.
the 05 run.
Mm-hmm.
I started with that run first, so that kind of showed like a different aspect to his origin of kind of like him being the forgotten hero and him kind of like forgetting that he started off as Sentry, and then he kind of goes backward into learning that like there's the void that exists, and the origin is just like everybody forgets who Sentry is, and then you see like the whole mental aspect side of Bob and going like crazy that no one remembers who he was, and then realizing why. I don't know, it just felt like it was kind of like it was a reverse order from the two versus how I read them, and I feel like that made it more cool. It was like this is anime movies. There's two movies that are like multiversal and connected, and it's like depending on the order that you read them, it affects the ending of the other, and that's exactly how I felt while reading this. I was like, oh, it's cool. I could like pick up on that, or like I knew like what to expect a little bit. And then after that, I went into the freaking 2023 run, and I was like, holy crap, there's such a switch. But it was I only read one issue in that run. It was very interesting.
Yeah,
That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. No, I
didn't
love
like it
your
too much.
perspective though. I love your perspective though, because I think out of the three of us, you were and I'm not calling you out in any way, you were the last one to hop on. So I was excited to see kind of like how your perspective on the character switched up. Because having already been through that when I read it, it was so interesting, and it hooked me so quick and so fast that I wasn't expecting it. And like he quickly became a character that I really, really liked within the Marvel universe. So Lou, how about you, man? Anything else you want to add to that point?
I think a big thing, Nate, I would recommend even the Spider-Brand's point. Like, I think the two core Sentry runs when you have 2000 and then 2006, both by Paul Jenkins, the Sentry 2000 piece, I think, especially if you're preparing for Thunderbolts, I think it's a really good place to start because it gives you perspective of this character that they include to what Hero was saying of like the way that they play it, the art, the panels, kind of how the whole story kind of evolves over time is you're taking this character and plopping him into an existing world, but this isn't like a multiversal thing in a way, right? This is just like real and people forgot. And you're seeing the story through his eyes. But the thing that I like about Sentry most is he's such a complex character. Like I can't stand when people are like Marvel Superman. No, dude, no. If you read the 2000 Sentry run, you're gonna walk away from this and being like, this guy is super complex. The duality between his split personalities, how he views himself, how others view him, how people view the Sentry, how Bob views Sentry, how Bob views Void, how people view Void. And you're like, you get so many perspectives, but at the end of the day, you feel that Sentry is like the man. Like Sentry is that hero. And it's more than just faster than a speeding bullet type of thing. It's just the respect, though. That's the one thing. You respect Sentry at the end of that initial Paul Jenkins 2000 run for sure. But for me, I did truthfully walk into it and was like, oh, Marvel Superman. That's how I've always seen it. You always see Sentry versus the Hulk in World War Hulk, and you're like, there's no way he could go toe to toe with the Hulk. After this, you're like, can the Hulk go 1v1 with Sentry? Read the story and find out, but it's funny how that flips.
Million explosive sounds.
Yeah. I loved it.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Giving those a for those who haven't read Sentry, a quick kind of overview of the 25 years, where he started, where he's at. So yeah, he started off in his original run, a character that everybody forgot about, one day woke up feeling like he's missing something, and that piece of himself is that he is a superhero. And the initial run, spoilers if you don't want to hear it, but if you do, I still think even if you know it, it's still worth the read, because
You're not getting enough detail.
No. So I, even though we're going to talk about it in detail, definitely still read it. As the series goes on, he's talking to these heroes within the Marvel universe, trying to get them to remember him, because nobody does, literally nobody. So he goes around talking to Reed, he talks to Hulk, he talks to Spider-Man, and they are all, the only one that remembers, interesting enough, is Hulk, because there is the difference in minds between Bruce Banner and the Hulk. Reed continues to dig deeper into who the Sentry is, and interesting enough, the Void, who is the split personality of Sentry, his evil side, that is what unleashes the Void, is being remembered, feeding off the fear of people in a way. And Reed basically kind of brings that into the universe. So the first run technically ends with the Void just on his way. That's how the run ends. Super interesting. Lots to break down in that run. But one of my favorite things is that as more and more people remember him, the more he talks to them. He starts off as this like really sloppy guy. Like, he's in a wife beater. He literally he attaches like a blanket to himself with some clothespins. And as the story goes on, that actually turns into his costume in a really cool way. Like, it starts off by the cape attaching itself to like with 2 S symbols. Mm-hmm. Super cool stuff. Super, super cool stuff. So yeah, that's how the first run actually ends. So after that, he has a stint in the New Avengers, right? A cool little storyline there, which, yes, introduces the Illuminati, because the Illuminati are like, what do we do with him? Mm-hmm. So read that, because
Carnage.
Yeah, we'll get to that point. We're not there yet. So then after that, you get his second Sentry run. And this delves more into what the Void actually is. The first one just kind of tells you. This second run delves into that backstory. And in reality, who's in charge? Because for, a long time, we're like, well, who actually is in charge of the body of Bob Reynolds? Is it Sentry or is it Void? And both comics don't give you an answer to that. Mm-hmm. But towards the end, you do. And the second run is fantastic, because it tells you this story both through Sentry's eyes, but also through a therapist that helps him. And my God, that poor therapist and the stuff that he has to go through in this series. But it's so good. It's so good. SB, I think you wanted to, it looked like you wanted to say something.
No.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. All right. My bad. I thought I saw you shift. So then into that point,
no, I was stretching.
Oh, okay. Into that point, some stuff does happen in between, and then it goes into Dark Avengers. Like, he does pop up every now and then, but then he's a big figurehead in Dark Avengers, and Norman basically manipulates him into using him. Yes, that is where the very famous ripping in half of Carnage comes in. It's from the Dark Avengers run. So some stuff happens there. It's a lot of stuff. We can't do justice in terms of like explaining everything, because again, it's 25 years condensed into a very quick Spark Notes. But read it. It's definitely worth your time. That culminates in Siege, where they go
super
after.
Quick and easy. That actually, I think that's what I want to say.
Yeah,
it's super quick because they're only like 5-7 issues each.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, super quick. But yeah, that culminates in Siege, where they try to take over Asgard. Then you get the Golden Age of Sentry, or just the Age of Sentry, I think is what it's called, and that is a actual like backstory for Bob Reynolds, the character, and how the Sentry comes to be. It's told in the style of a Silver Age comic, so it might not be for everybody, but that does delve into who he is, and you ultimately do find out that you would find this out in the original series. I'm sorry, the second run of Sentry, but you find out that Bob Reynolds isn't really a good person. He was a drug addict who was trying to find another fix, and he ended up taking an experimental, basically like super soldier serum, and it gave him the powers of Sentry. And that's kind of what leads into the split for him. Like, he's a schizophrenic also. So super cool the way that they tell to take SB's favorite saying, the morality duality of this character. Again, a character that I don't think they've done well, or any other character that they've done well as Sentry. Again, pops up in some in-between stuff, like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange. Then you get the 2018 Sentry run, which finds him. They've evolved now to where the Void can be remembered and people remember him, and him facing a new threat. This one is very straightforward and probably my least favorite of like the actual Bob Reynolds focused Sentry runs, but still worthwhile reading. Then you lead into King in Black. So yes, for those that don't know, King in Black, the event where Null, the creator of the symbiotes, the god of symbiotes, comes to Earth and just wrecks everybody, and that includes Sentry. He does a reverse Carnage where he's like, hey, I remember what you did to my symbiote. I'm gonna show you how it feels. And it's so yeah, Sentry is currently dead within Marvel Comics. He is no longer in the land of the living. The Valkyries try to go save him in like a tie-in, but he's just kind of like, no, I'm okay. Then recently, and this kind of leads off to where SB was saying, it took a weird turn. He appeared, or more so, this organization in Doctor Strange's more recent run wanted to use the soul of Sentry. The Magic Cartel is actually their name. It just came to me. I was like, it's something very silly that even the book is like, really, that's their name. But yeah, the Magic Cartel is trying to use his soul. Doctor Strange stops it, but one fragment of that soul got out, and that leads to a lot of people gaining Sentry's powers. So that's kind of what the new run deals with, is those people getting his powers. Bob Reynolds still isn't in it. And that's kind of where we are at as of the last issue of that run, as of 2024. I think it was last year. Unless I missed something, which I don't think I have. I've been trying to look for it, but
yeah, I mean, that's definitely where it ends off, but I'm pretty sure you hit all of them in the some side piece.
Yeah. So that's kind of where we're at with Sentry and his lore really quick. But yeah, I think the biggest bit that I really enjoyed was getting to see how they handle the question of is to be a superhero, do you have to be a good person? Because that's really what most of his runs kind of deal with. It's like, can you be a good person and be a superhero? And actually, I think that first run does it best because they kind of sprinkle it in with Reed as well, where the failsafe that they kind of have to not make people remember Sentry is that Strange is like, hey, Doctor Strange is like, hey, leave that alone. Like he tells Reed, he's like, stop. He's like, I know you're not going to, and you're going to doom the world for it, but you need to stop. And even Reed makes like a failsafe for himself to tell him, if you are looking for this, stop.
Yeah.
You need to stop. And he doesn't. because if not, you don't get a story. But yeah, and then when you find out the fact of like who really is in control, it makes you look at this into a different perspective as well. So yeah, fantastic stuff with these stories. Just the impact that Sentry has on the greater Marvel universe in the comics is really cool to see.
Dude, as I was reading it, all I could think about what was it? It was Age of the Sentry, where it's Reed kind of like giving the Sentry to Franklin, or giving the story to Franklin, right? And all I was thinking about, I'm like, damn, just imagine all the Fantastic Four tie-ins and like potential with Sentry and Doomsday now. It's got me thinking. It's got the. I want to see some reference between Fantastic Four and Sentry. I don't know how it's gonna make any sense, but
I think
we'll see.
Real quick to those points. And Nate, you had a good question about kind of what key elements in the comics are you hoping they bring into the Thunderbolts. I think a big thing is like they're missing a lot of core relationships between Reed, Strange, Tony. Even there's a point where it's like, Tony, you're my friend. Like you're the only friend that I have at this point. Like those concepts, and then the Bruce Banner Hulk dynamic with him, like those are 4 huge characters that he's going to have no relationship with, right? To our knowledge at this point. But I think the core piece to where, for me, what sticks out when you were going through this again here, I was like, the manipulation aspect of this, and those that see the type of person he is, that junkie, schizophrenic type of person that is Bob Reynolds, we can use that power. How he gets the power, I think they could probably do it, a 1-to-1 from that perspective. But I think who manipulates him and how does he feel about it? Because maybe we have Val, some other characters that might manipulate him to try to harness that power of, a million exploding suns. But then how is he going to feel being either recruited by the heroes or the Thunderbolts, or is he going to feel manipulated by them? How's the Void going to respond? Like, I'm very curious to see the dynamic that he's going to have with the characters that'll be on screen. Because I think going back to that 2000s run, you have the perspective from the other heroes that say like Sentry is just a revered guy. Like he's the guy that's going to save you. But then you go to the next run, the 05 and beyond, where he's putting people on an algorithm and prioritizing who he's going to save. And he pops in and out, and it's just like, are you going to let people die? Like, what kind of hero are you? Right? I'm going to save the most important things and be everywhere that I can. And then you have the therapist perspective of just kind of that mental duality that he's bringing in. So I think they could go so many different routes, but I loved recapping that just to see the growth and evolution of Sentry over those first 2 core stories, and even the New Avengers tie-in, Bendis's tie-in in between. Sentry's such a fascinating character. Like, it almost makes me feel like this isn't the same. They're not the same character, but getting inside the mind of Sentry is how I feel like getting inside the mind of Joker is. Like those two, I put those in a very similar way, and I put Sentry more so over Moon Knight. Some people are going to be like, it's just another Moon Knight. It's not another Moon Knight.
Yeah. Reading this, you can pick up maybe like certain elements of it, and I think maybe that's why for me, the third like kind of Sentry titled run is weaker, because it kind of leans into that more like, oh, it's just another Moon Knight. And Jeff Lemire is the writer for it. And Jeff Lemire has done probably the most famous run on Moon Knight, which is kind of what a lot of people like kind of base their perspective of Moon Knight on. And even the MCU did too, to be quite honest. And I think he kind of does things a little too similar here. And I think that brought Sentry down, or, in this form of storytelling. But yeah, no, he's definitely over Moon Knight, because there's just, it's a key difference. Like it's a weird way to explain without you reading it, just how different they truly are. And it comes into the personalities. It comes into the power set as well, which I think is something we should definitely touch on right after this. But yeah, fantastic stuff. Kind of getting into that power set, a lot of people are confused as to what Sentry's power set is. They're just like, hey, he has super strength, right? And it's like, yeah, he does. He does have super strength. He has your normal, like, superpowers, quicker and stronger. But there really is no definition of what Sentry can do and what he can't. And that's really interesting. And there's no definition as to what the Void can and can't do. The Void can kind of do anything, really, where in that new Avengers run, we kind of see him just summoning monsters out of nowhere, like these apparitions of monsters, and it takes Emma Frost to come in and kind of calm him down for a little bit. But then we also see physical manifestations of the Void where Doctor Strange has to literally keep him locked up behind this magic reinforced, door. There is no set power set for these characters, and that makes them super interesting.
Dude, what you said right there, just I go back and forth of like what's my favorite run, but the 0506, when you take what you just said and apply that right before you go into that, and then they tell a story, and then you get to the end and you're like, my mind has been blown. It's so good. It's so good. But he is the true definition of like limitless. Like when someone's like, what's his power set? I'm like, limitless. Truly.
Yeah, it really just depends.
Molecular manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
That's just crazy. Some Wanda level stuff. Better than Wanda level stuff.
Yeah. It's really kind of like dependent on his state of mind a lot of the times, which is kind of what Dark Avengers kind of leads into a little bit. But like if someone were to be like, what the heck is molecular manipulation? You can explain it, but to think of the possibilities, that is genuinely limitless, like you said.
It's crazy to think about. And it makes it crazy to think about how the heck are you going to deal with them in Thunderbolts and Doomsday. I'm like, just put him against Doom, man. But
I want to talk about that
Doom, right?
Before we get done about how we think they're going to showcase his power set.
Let's talk about it now. Let's talk about
it
now. Yeah, let's talk about it right now. Like, because I think we're on the power set, and I think that's a good baseline to establish that there really is no explanation for his powers other than he's like genuinely almost this like all-powerful being. It just depends on like what the story wants to do with him.
Yeah. The hard part is like my expectation going into this is going to be he's like the all-powerful from the jump. But for the MCU, I could see them kind of nerfing the Sentry aspect of this and then kind of going all in on the Void aspect of this. Of like, you don't know what's going to happen. The Void can do anything he wants. He can be anywhere, wherever.
I've seen him freaking shadowing people already.
Yeah.
He just turning into silhouettes.
But
not even silhouettes, just straight up shadows on the ground.
Okay, let me ask you guys this. If you had to compare his strength to a character or a moment or a scene that we've seen so far in the MCU, what would be like that scene he should top as Sentry? That people are like, damn, that for sure is like the most powerful character. Like, what would you need to see to kind of put him on the scale that we hope that he would be on?
Probably Thor
skating through every MCU moment in my head.
I was gonna say probably Thor with the Odin Force.
I was thinking about
in
that.
Ragnarok when he gets his the lightning powers.
I was also thinking of Whip's comment
of Thor's entrance on Wakanda. Yeah.
Even Thor holding to when he was making Stormbreaker, that shit is pretty powerful. against the freaking Star.
Oh dang, we gotta get on streambo.com.
Huh?
Yo, get the heck. Never. Every time a fucking shit like that pops up, I'm never on Twitch. Get banned.
But yeah, I think that would kind of be
Um,
the comparable. If they really want to go big time,
his powers are OP.
yeah, show him like potentially like the power of like an Infinity Stone. That would break a lot of people's minds, I think.
Gosh, I'm just trying to think of like if he can be
I have the
sent.
same one.
God,
Another runner-up, I think. Hulk smashing that Chidori. Chidori? Is it Chidori? No.
Chidori's Naruto. Yeah, I was gonna say we're thinking about some
I'm like,
Sasuke.
wait a second. Yeah, Chidori's yeah. Kakashi. Oh, I don't want to think about that. Whatever Hulk punching that ship is pretty powerful.
The Chitauri ship,
in my opinion. The Chitauri, yeah.
guys, I
I
think
think
he's
that's pretty powerful, and showing him do something like that.
I think his compliment is actually Captain Marvel, probably.
yeah.
Because he doesn't look as like bulky and beefy, and I think Hulk and Thor do like the bulky, beefy movements. But I think when we look at like who's the strongest in the MCU right now, I know everyone was like, it's Namor after he's wet and you throw a hose on him and he's stronger than Hulk and Thor. But like, I think it's Captain Marvel, especially with what she can do, where she can go, and how she can be. Sentry can do all that more.
Would you say higher, further, faster?
Yeah. Wake me up in a hospital bed next to my boy Hank.
Yeah. I do think him being kind of more in line with that would probably set him apart. But I do think like even if he's not like showcasing like insane speed and power, I think, for example, just alone on the trailer, seeing him turn people into smears of shadows is genuinely terrifying. Like, how do you beat that? Like, all he does is like a whip of a hand, and it's just boop. You're now a locked character.
Even that silhouette, that picture they have of him just floating in the sky as a silhouette. Oh my god, that's just like intimidating. If you really zoom in on the eyes too, they're just like tiny, like white marks in there, and I'm like, that is some creepy shit. I can't wait to see how they use them in the Void.
Dude, I'm not gonna.
I want them to go all in on the Void. That's what I really want to see. I said it after I read that 05-06 run. I remember the first time I ever talked about it on here. I was like, there's no way they're gonna be able to do anything like they could with the Void. And seeing the last two trailers, and then reading more Sentry, I'm kind of changed my mind a little bit, and I'm hoping they really hit with it.
Here,
I mean, as much as I love Sentry, also don't get me wrong, but like the Void, if they do a good one with that, that could draw a lot of cool people into the MCU. Do you think the Void will actually just be shadow form? Will he eventually turn into a full-blown monster? Definitely shadow form. And the whole monster thing was what I was pretty much saying that I doubt they'll be able to pull off. But I think they'll keep him in that silhouette shadow form as the Void, which is I'm fine with.
Here, what do you think of this too?
Yeah, I do think they'll probably keep him more in the Shadow Man form. Besides the full-blown monster. I would love if they did full-blown monster. But I don't see them doing that
Maybe
yet.
Might show
the thing that
rooms, save on budget.
Yeah.
You know what though? I think that they could go bigger, and I think they have. I would hope that the Void is more. I would like to see the Void before he comes. He would be almost like an Alioth type of thing, right? Because even in the first run, like there's like a giant storm that's kind of moving towards New York, and you're just like, what's this? And people are like, oh, it's the void. Like the void is coming. Like the void is coming. It is like this monstrous storm. But I think depending on his power set, I do think he should take his like Snape, Kylo Ren look in darkness, like humanoid form, obviously, as well. Like have that physical be there. But switch him up. I think it'd be cool to make the void look different based on Bob's mentality and what he's manifesting at the time. Like let his feelings kind of play into what he's showing people versus just having kind of a standard form. I think they'll probably simplify it for the audience for sure. But they could do so much. They could do so much with the way he looks. Oh my god! Like they could go straight, pull it out of Harry Potter level stuff in like the Death Eaters.
Yeah, yeah, and I would love if they kind of play around with forms, kind of like you were saying. Like maybe it starts off with him, kind of a big iconic part or a description of the void is that he's a shadowy man with a fedora and like a trench coat. I would love if they do something with that to start, and then it becomes more like, okay, as you get revealed more what he is, it becomes the evil Sentry that we kind of see in Sentry versus the Void, that book. And then as he keeps going, maybe because we kind of saw in the trailer like Yelena walking into this like shadowy storm cloud. I would love if when she gets there, that's when you kind of get your big reveal of like a shadowy monster holding Bob or Sentry hostage, like his mind hostage, and that's the apparition of fear. You know what I mean?
They can go that shadowy figure trench coat route. Like the void is willing to get street level. Like you guys think Muse does some bad stuff. Like wait until you learn more about the void. Like we're not just saying he's some big shadow monster that's like kneel before me type of thing. He's like, I'm going to torture you and just let you bleed out because I'm the opposite of everything that is good. There's a part, and I forget which one, if it's in the 05 or 06, but it's like Bob can save someone from cancer, and the void, it will give you cancer.
Yeah. It's the 05, 06 run where it's the yes, every person you save, one is going to suffer.
Yes.
You can save 100 people, but the void is going to end 100 people. And he's going to do it in a very cruel way.
Yeah.
Most of the time. And it's genuinely compelling, like how they write their relationship between each other and how Bob views that as well. Because, for example, a big part of the therapist's problem is that he knows, once he kind of figures out what's going on and he knows and understands fully, he then has to struggle with the fact of, well, my daughter she has cancer and she's dying. There's literally nothing that I can do. And then it deals with the question of, do you sacrifice one life to save someone important to you?
Mm-hmm.
God, this story is, man, dude, so good, dude.
Both of them are so good. And Nate, I know you've been in here, but man, I haven't read a story, or at least a two-parter of kind of the two different runs, but kind of the same story expanding to where it builds so much, not suspense, but like anxiety inside of you, to where I think the therapist says, like, how would you feel if you were responsible for 1 million nuclear bombs? Like, you're holding this, like you're the one who's stopping the detonator from getting pressed. And like the weight that all of these characters have, whether you're hero down to like street level people who know him, you feel the weight on your shoulder when you're reading it. And there are times I remember putting it down, just being like, dang, I legitimately need a timeout because this is getting heavy. like the air is getting thick and I can't breathe. Don't do it, Bob.
Yeah. And it's interesting because, people will kind of like describe that for these like very dark books where it's like, they're dealing with these like heavy themes of like death and like suicide and things like that. And yes, those do take, I think, a little more time and toll to read on people. But this is just more of like this existential dread of like what actually life means, the pressures that come with that, and like how do you deal with it if you have the power to deal with it.
Great power, great responsibility. I think I said that when sent that to you, Spider-Man. I was thinking of you. It's in the 0506 start where that's like one of the first things on one of the first pages of, hey, it leads with like great power, great responsibility, but enter the void.
Yeah, which is why I love
Crazy.
when Doctor Strange comes in for Reed, because he does kind of tell him, he's like, dude, you're in this path of like figuring stuff out of curiosity, because that's just who you are. And as soon as you're done, you're gonna wish you never did. Because yes, he's done a lot of good, but what follows it is so bad. Like genuinely, and when you think about it and how they kind of frame everything that he does, he helped the original X-Men like really learn how to get over their fear of failure. He is literally like Reed's best friend.
It was Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
He got Spider-Man in that one picture that
Yeah.
pretty much got him financially stable and turned him
he-
into a hero.
He gets him a Pulitzer Prize and like literally the love and adoration of J. Jonah Jameson. He's able to calm the Hulk down and not
Reed's
like
best friend.
Yeah, and not to revert him back, but to calm him down and make him rational.
Like his literal presence.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Crazy. I think I love the Hulk's perspective of that, of just really describing what it means to be around Sentry, of like more of a feel, where the other characters like Spider-Man is just like Sentry is this great thing, and then you get that perspective through there, and then you have like the X-Men piece of it. But I really, really, really liked the Hulk's aspect in relationship with Sentry, of like, oh my gosh. But then when he does later on with the Hulk, like, bro,
it's terribly sad seeing where it ends up in that other run.
Have you guys ever seen Hulk scared?
Not like, just scared, but terrified. Yeah. And they set it up so well, because they allude
real low.
Yeah, they allude to how it makes him feel, but you never like fully understand it. You're just like, he tells him, hey Hulk, I need you to be brave. Yeah. And he tells him, like, I think Hulk's literal answer is like, for you, Hulk will be the bravest there ever is. Yeah, and you're like, bro, why is the Hulk saying that? What? Like, you don't think the Hulk needs to say that. And then I love when in that issue of the tie-in for the Sentry Hulk, where once Bob is kind of gone out of his life, the way the narrator of the book kind of frames it, it's like, what do you do when he's gone? You throw a tantrum like you always do. And that's how the book ends. And it's Hulk being destructive. Again, showing like the duality of both. Because that's kind of what Hulk is as a character. He's this force for good, but when he's not, he's not.
Right. Which, dude, even in World War Hulk, they touch on these things. And like, you still have the Bob Sentry piece of like, can I go all out to stop this Hulk? I don't know, because I fear if I do, the Void's going to come out. Like, we have a problem with Hulk, but like, I'm also a giant problem. So if I lose, like, it's not because I lost, but like, in the end, like, y'all got to live. So I'm going to take this shot to the face.
Yeah.
Super Saiyan battle. Oh, I love it. That's one of my favorite parts of World War Hulk.
It's so good. It's such a good battle between them. But yeah, I think that's kind of where it is. I do think that the MCU will use some aspects. I do think probably more so from the first and second run. I think they'll probably do it to where, like, if he doesn't remember who he is, that's what kind of feeds into the Void, not remembering who he is as a person. And I think that's where they'll kind of go. We kind of have seen it with Winter Soldier, where brainwashing super soldiers is very easy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they'll probably do that to him in some way. That they're just going to be like, hey, we've brainwashed him. We'll brainwash him to forget.
Yeah.
And if he forgets, there's no power.
Yeah, I wonder too if in this, and Spider-Man, I'm curious what you think on this. I'll be curious to see like if he's a worker at the lab or someone's making like they're making that golden super soldier serum somehow to mass produce it. And he does get it. I think the whole sneak in type of thing is right. Whether it's a university, there's a professor, he's a student, maybe he just works there and he's employed, whatever it might be. But I have a feeling that the void piece won't actually come out until they catch him with having the serum and they notice that it's happening post. And that's why he ends up in the facility that he's in. And maybe that's why Val sends the Thunderbolts to be like, I don't know what's up with this, but we need someone to check it out. We need you guys to check it out, or to be a test, because he could be like the next big weapon that they kind of put and sick on the Skrulls in Wakanda. Oh. Sorry. What if my guy hunts the Skrulls? Bang, bang, bang. Oh,
that would be cool. I did want to say earlier, it would be really cool if they make like if Avengers Tower is the Void hideout.
Oh, the Watchtower?
Well, yeah, if that's the Watchtower, that would be pretty cool.
I think maybe by the end of the movie,
Jarvis in there is clock.
Yeah, I think it's possible. I think it's very possible.
What if What if Doom's true intention is because he knows that this powerful motherfucker is in Avengers Tower as the Void, and that's why he wants to go back and act as Tony Stark. Now we're cooking. Here.
So that'll lead into a theory that I kind of got. This is we'll separate this because this does lead into Secret Wars, so I'll be kind of quick and I'll bring this back up later. But both Secret Wars have kind of Doom siphoning power from somewhere. In the original Secret Wars, it's Galactus. He takes Galactus power for himself, and that's what leads him to kind of be able to beat all the superheroes. And then in the 2015, 2016 run, he takes kind of the Beyonders and then also Molecule Man to kind of do that for him. So my working theory, I think, is that Doom is going to kind of siphon energy off a couple of people in Doomsday / Secret Wars. I think in Doomsday, it'll probably start off with him finding a way to siphon off of Sentry. Sentry is going to get him to Loki. And then once he gets Loki, that's what leads to God Emperor Doom in Secret Wars. That's my working theory. I could be wrong, could be true. I don't know. We'll see. But I do think Sentry's going to play a big part in the story, because I don't think they would have revealed him in the chair reveals if he wasn't.
The power source thing is just, that's so money.
He needs him. Like, that's what both Secret Wars runs kind of make clear. It's that he needs those power sources. So I don't see why they wouldn't take probably your strongest character in the MCU, Earth-based wise, with the Sentry.
Yeah.
Oof. But yeah, man, Sentry, what a character!
Awesome design, awesome power set, awesome. Like, I would be all in for a Sentry series. Say again, Spider-Man. Unless he just said hyped. I'm gonna fill in the blank there, and I think he said I am hyped.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that too. Now it's time to add him to Rivals, bro. Listen, if they add him to Rivals,
just thinking about that.
They add him to
Just
Rivals.
popped in my head.
If they add him to Rivals, nobody touch him because I claim him. I'm the only Sentry player right now. Okay, nobody.
Lord Sentry.
Yeah, I'm gonna be Lord, and when you see when you go into like statistics and careers and you're like, wow, who's the Sentry player? It's going to be me and me alone. Nobody touched the character.
Dude. Should we do on point? You might have to make your own stream on that. #1 Sentry player.
Yeah, never loses. Shout out, Gamer Keezy, if you know, you know, on TikTok.
Where my heels?
Where my heels at? I'm gonna be Sentry main.
Yeah.
Sentry main.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love it. We need some Sentry merch.
Oh,
is that out yet? Is that out yet? Do we have
Thunderbolts
merch yet?
No. Hold on. Google is our best friend.
I guess once Thunderbolts comes out.
Come on,
There is I know that there is a Marvel Legends of him.
We'll take it.
Let's see. Sentry Marvel t-shirt. Hot Topic has a comic cover of it. It's not great. It looks kind of crappy, to be honest.
Which cover?
It's from the third run, the Jeff Lemire one. And it's the cover where he's like blowing Bob's mind, literally.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's not cool.
Listen, y'all. Sentry, my hope for the character, like we love the runs, but my hope for him going into Doomsday, now that we know that he's announced for it, is that he's must see. And he steals the show whenever he's on screen. I hope he feels better than or as good as we feel like when Chris Hemsworth shows up. You're just like, bro, if you take out Thor, then you're a bad dude or gal, person, thing. Yeah, gosh, Sentry's so good.
So cool.
MCU, don't mess him up. Don't mess
Please don't mess him up. This is the one character I think they should get right because it would add a lot of confidence in the MCU because they'll know how to properly deal with these characters, but also adding another character that you can kind of put into that new blood of Avengers movies as well, even post reboot. And then kind of like Nate, kind of like what you're saying, if Doom does wipe the floor with Sentry after what we've seen, if he's like someone this very big deal, then it's going to make Doom feel a lot better as well. So
you have a real world where you can get Doom with mystical powers and just being Doom versus Sentry, and then the void spikes and Doom sees that, and that's what stops Doom, and he somehow contains Sentry, and then you get a full-on God Emperor Doom versus Sentry, just like bash.
Please. You want to talk about actual peak? That's actual peak,
bro. That's Everest peak, not my roof peak.
Yeah. Oh, man. But yeah, I think that's it for today, guys. Right? We'll end it there so that we finish. Wear white pants for that? No, that'd be bad. That'd be really bad if we did.
Well, I mean, they're gonna turn brown after that fight and gonna dump all over. So I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'll start white when I leave, baby.
Yeah. And everybody's gonna know.
How good was the fight? I'm like, let me turn around.
Yeah, look at this.
Boom.
Boom.
How good is good?
Yeah. Boom, boom. Looking for this.
Hey, Nate, 5 big booms for you there, buddy.
Shout out Costco, guys. Everybody, we're gonna leave it there. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you watch live, thank you so much. We really appreciate having you here. If you're listening to this later on, thank you. Or if you're listening the audio only version, thank you as well. We appreciate all of you. So make sure to subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure to follow us wherever you listen to all your major podcasts and on our socials and our Discord, because remember, Discord eats first, and we have our movie nights and our show nights. So our watch parties, we love to have you guys there, hosted by Spider Brando. But we are your trio of favorite hosts. Barzy, thank you for the compliment, man. We appreciate you for coming in. Hope to have you again in the next one. But everybody, have a great night. We'll see you next Wednesday. And as always, make sure to do the 3 most important things. Keep watching, keep reading, keep nerding out. Take care and have a great night.